Hello, everyone. It is Monday morning again over here where I am right now. It's another author live chat with fans, and so excited to be welcoming author Yolonda Gayden with us today to talk about an interesting topic, which is go get your whole life back. It's all about women empowerment, and I believe that she has a lot of input. She has a lot of information to share with us today. And so welcome again to the Author Life Chat Show of Sunday series, 30th August 2021, 8 p.m. CST. We are live again on the Facebook International Book Promotions page, and a little bit about Yolanda over here. She's a woman of many talents. Her journey to ministry left her with many of life's adversaries to face. She has endured pain from abandonment, molestation, and alcoholism. Yet she has overcome the pain, sorrow, and pressure through God's grace and mercy. She is now here to give back hope to those who need it most through her story and ministry. Without further ado, let's welcome Author Yolanda to the show.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. I'm so
Thank you
excited.
so much.
I'm so happy to have you over here. Thank you for joining me. Although it's actually on a very short notice. Um, I'm so glad to be, chatting with you over here, especially in the topic, girl, go get your life back. I'm sure that, we have a lot of women audience who are joining us and who will also be watching this later on. So I believe that this is going to be really exciting, beneficial, motivating for everybody. And so before we get started, could you actually tell us a little bit about yourself? I mean, I briefly explained to the audience about you, but I think, it'd be good to hear from yourself, a little bit about yourself.
Yes, sure. And
Yes,
thank you
sure.
so
And
much
thank
for
you
having
so
me.
much for
I'm so
having
excited
me.
to be
I'm so
here.
excited to be
Um,
here.
I am
I
married
am
and I've been married
married
for 24 years. I
for
have
years.
four children, four grown children, ages 32 and 28, 22, and 32. And so I work at the local university here in Monroe, Louisiana. And I'm so excited about being an author. And I was able during the pandemic to actually be a part of six anthology books, which means I wrote books with collaboration of other people, and it was amazing. And I'm super excited about it. And I also wrote a children's book as the author of that children's book. So I've done six books. I mean, I'm sorry, seven books in total during the whole pandemic. So it's been an amazing journey. It's been exciting.
Wow. Seven whole, I mean, the entire seven books during pandemic.
I'm sorry, say that again.
You wrote the whole of seven books during pandemic?
Yes, during the pandemic, I did. I wrote six anthology project books, and then I did a children's book on my own. Yes, the whole pandemic, I did.
That's like one hell of a productive way of doing things, I guess. No, yeah, I'm so happy to actually have Dawn over here. Dawn, thank you again for connecting me with yet another fantastic author. I mean, I think for the past 1 month, at least, we've been talking to many authors, various different authors, and I'm so happy that, I am able to connect with you today, Yolanda.
She's
Yolanda, speaking about your book, the first book, I mean, tell us a little bit about how you started writing and what motivated you to write.
my first book. Um, yes, my first book. I actually I actually had let me back up and say I knew that I was going to be an author 20 years ago. I had a vision and I knew that I was going to write a book. I didn't know when I was going to do it, but I knew I was going to write a book. I had no idea that I was going to write books, but this was an amazing journey. Actually, this particular book, the first anthology book that I wrote with several other wonderful women telling their stories in this book, it was an amazing, amazing journey. I actually was literally in the house one day and, I heard God speak to me. I heard him speak to me and say that I needed to write my story and that the first book that I was going to be a part of was going to be an anthology project. I didn't even know what an anthology book was, but that's what I heard. And literally, it was probably a week later, a stranger inboxed me on social media. And she said to me, "It's time to tell your story." And I was like, okay, who is this lady? What is she talking about? And we began to talk and we got connected. And she got a group of amazing women together and everyone told their story. And I was so excited about writing in this book. And literally, my story came from my personal experience. I would like to say that I was born a good girl, but that was not the case. And so I, had a lot of adversities and things that happened in my life that caused me to go on different journeys. And this first chapter of this first book was telling my story from the perspective of being the side chick. Which a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it's a reality in life. Sometimes people are in that type of situation, whether they put themselves or they come into it the way I did. And the way I came into it was not knowing. I dated a guy who I thought he was the one. He had all of the great things that we look for in a man. He was very hardworking, a great provider. He gave me all types of lavish gifts. I had a car that he gave me, living room suit, beautiful clothes, a lot of things. But I was broken inside. There was a lot missing. And in the book, how I reveal how I found out that I actually was a side chick and not the woman. That he had a wife, and I had no knowledge of it. So it's a quite interesting personal story of my journey, and it's just basically encouraging women to get your life back. That you're not second best, and you don't need to play that to anybody. And how I came up out of that whole situation. So yes, that's what the book is. That's what that chapter is about.
Mhm. And you wrote this together with many other authors, right? I mean, there are so many other beautiful stories over there. So, I mean, like, who came up with the idea of compiling all these wonderful stories, and what was the theme of the book? Like, when you worked on it.
Yes, I think the theme should have been a national anthem to women. It was an amazing publisher, and she's an author. She's a great, great woman. She's also a woman that wears many, many, many hats. But her name was Angela, and it was her idea that she had. And it's basically, like you said, a collaboration of other women who have some amazing stories of fighting depression, abuse, molestation, just different things. Women that were broken and needing to find wholeness. And so it's telling the story, saying that I was her, but it's saying, girl, go get your life back. You no longer need to be that broken, abused, hurtful woman. you need to walk in your wholeness, your truth, and you need to have your life back where you can be whole again. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And moving on to your subsequent books, right? So tell us a little bit about that because you wrote like 7 books during this pandemic. So
I
I want
did.
to see a little bit of that journey and how you started writing one to another.
Believe it or not, quite amazing. It's kind of funny because years ago I just really felt like I wasn't a good multitasker with having a lot of different things going on at one time. But actually there was one time when 3 of the books I literally was working on them like together. I just had this drive. I knew that I was supposed to do these books, and um I just would write. I just would write it. A lot of times, when people are trying to be writers or inspired writers, or they're thinking about writing something, you're trying to write it perfect. You want it punctuated perfect. You want it to line up perfect. You want it to make sense perfect. But the best thing to do is to just write and then go back and look at how you can put it in the right perspective, then look at grammar and all of those good things. The main thing is to get it on paper. So there was one time I literally 3 of them I was working on all together. Um, my children's book, most proud of it. I'm happy, excited for all the books that I've been a part of. I've overcame divorce before my marriage of 24 years. So I have a book out where I actually talk about life after divorce. And so that was an interesting time in my life. And it, talk about how when things don't work out the way that you think they should work out between, a husband and a wife, and how that came to an end. And a lot of trauma within that. There was some physical abuse and things like that. So I get to tell my story to empower and to encourage a woman who may be looking at getting or has gone through a divorce. And so I get to give her hope and courage and tell my story of how I overcame um, divorce. So it's just really amazing. But back to my children's story, Hannah Learns to Give was inspired by my 23-year-old daughter, whose name is Hannah. Her name is Hannah Grace. And I used her as a character, as a little girl named Hannah. And I put myself in the book as a character, but I did a different name. But I actually had the illustrator to actually draw me at my earliest younger years of life, and it was pretty exciting and fun. And the book talks about giving, teaching children to give. And I didn't say before, but I actually work with children throughout the day. I work at a developmental center. And so children are my heart, my passion. I have been working with children for over 20 something years. So it was just amazing doing that children's book. And I'm super excited about, as well as all the books that I have been able to write.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. So, coming to the central theme of your book, I mean, the first few books that you've written, except the children's book, um, it's all about the struggles that you have gone through in life, in terms of abandonment, in terms of relationship, how failures in relationship can affect someone, in life, and how you actually rebuild yourself from that point onwards. I have to say, I think, at this time that we live in, relationships are very fragile. It's fragile. It's unexpected, and you cannot foresee what's going to happen. So, what do you think about preserving relationships or trying to hold on to a relationship, or you just think that when it's supposed to end, then you just have to gracefully let it go, versus nurturing relationships.
Okay, I think I understand what you're saying. So I I believe that relationships can make it through a lot of things if two people are willing to work through the relationship. If two people are willing to be very, communicating and upfront, I believe that, even I've seen marriages that have went through infidelity and still ended up thriving and making it. That comes from a lot, because that comes from, you know, if a person made a mistake as far as going outside of their marriage, then getting that thing right with that mate, let it that it happened, but it shouldn't have, and that you are completely in sorrow. I think that a marriage can make it through anything. However, you got to be committed. But there are some times that you want it to work, but the other person may not want it to work, or may not be willing to work with you, or maybe the behavior, such as infidelity or any other thing, that they're not willing to cease the behavior. They're trying to continually um, live within that same behavior that's not going to be good substance for that marriage. So sometimes you're not going to be able to work those things out, and sometimes you're not going to be able to mend and bring that relationship back together again. And sometimes you have to realize that this is not a healthy place for me. This is not a good place for even my mental state, and sometimes those relationships have to come to an end.
Hmm. I think it is more towards what you can salvage and what you can't, and you have to just decide whether you still have common grounds to work on, or it's just you cannot do anything about it. So I think that's where we struggle a lot. I think as human beings, and now, I mean, looking back at your journey, now you are married, and tell us about that journey. Like how you're able to work on yourself, to gain your strength back.
Okay. Well, I must say, I'm not sure, where the audience is as far as, you know, um, I'm not talking about a religion or anything like that, but a relationship with God for me. That was the foundation of my whole being, my whole life, to coming out of an alcoholic. I was an alcoholic where I had to have alcohol every single day throughout the day. Orange juice and gin was my friend at the time. So from being an alcoholic to being someone who smoked daily, who cursed, who was just in a bad space, in a bad place, and a lot of these behavior came from feeling unloved and unwanted, and so they spiraled into other things. So for me, I can only tell you my story. For me, it was Jesus Christ for me, and so um, once I got a relationship with him, it was him that helped me to open my eyes to see all the damage and the things that I had been a part of and I had done, and the bad relationships, and why it didn't work, and all of those things. And so once I started walking in the ways that the way I was being led to walk, from reading the word of God and from going to church, for me, that's how I began to get into a better place. And so my husband, who we were already friends and had been friends for years, but that's all. That's all it was. We were friends, and he was always there for me. And even when the guy that I thought I was gonna marry, who was already married, I called my husband now, who was my friend then, to cry on his shoulder, to say, oh, I thought this was the man of my dreams, and now I found out he is already a man of somebody else's dream. He already has a wife. And he consulted me, and he kept trying to lead me to God. But I will say, like a lot of people, and I'm not here to say anything to judgment on that, but I'm just saying, for me, he tried to lead me to Christ, and I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in Jesus. I didn't believe in God. I didn't want that, and I was fighting against that. But I was so broken. I had went through depression, a bad marriage, being hit on, molested, being raped, an abandoned mother. So by this time, I'm so broken that I'm desperate. I'm like, whatever can help. And so my husband now, we actually just began to fellowship through that church, and build a relationship. And after talking for a while, we decided to, date, or as older people say, a courtship. And so we dated, and it was a healthy, productive dating. We actually both made a decision, grown people made a decision, that we did not want to, have even sex, without being married. And so it was a whole new world for me, a whole new place. But it was so rewarding. It was so wholesome, so good, because I never had a man to love me for myself, for Yolanda, for my intellect, for my mind, for who I was. And it wasn't about a body thing. It wasn't about, just physical. And so it was just awesome, having him write me poems, and have him buy me gifts. And I didn't do anything, I didn't have to give anything away to get gifts. I got diamond rings and diamond earrings and tennis bracelets, and the conversation was long, and really good, and we just bonded, and we just clicked. And when he looked at me, I saw love, and that was something that I had never saw, and that drew me to him. And he's a very smart man, and so his intellect, his smartness, and the way he would look at me, it drew me to him. And so after dating for literally, I think we dated and courted maybe 6 or 7 months, but we had known each other at that time, honestly, probably about for 10 years. We had known each other for a while. And so after that, on one night, we went to a Christmas banquet, and my husband got on his knees, and in front of all the church plus some visiting churches, he proposed to me. And it was an amazing, amazing night. And so, we've been married for 24 years. In April, it'll be 25 years. And it's just, I tell you, marriage is honorable, and God loves marriage, and it's just it's wonderful when you can have a companionship to enjoy life with. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing. I hope I answered your question. It's been amazing.
Yes. No, definitely. I mean, overcoming those struggles that you had, in life, and now looking back and how you actually worked on those struggles. And tell us a little bit about your the ycgministries.com, and how you started coaching. And I believe you these ideas actually stem from your challenges, with life.
Yes, yes, they did. YCG Ministry, I actually had went to a women's conference, and it was a very empowering women's conference. And when I got ready to leave, I just felt so inspired to want to help women. And this conference was just so awesome, and I had just attained so much knowledge, and I came back and I was just like, I just really want to make a difference in women's lives, and I want to be there for women in a way that no one was there for me. Like when I was going through all of these struggles, there was no one that I could turn to, no one to help me go through it, no one to talk with. And so I wanted to give back to women all over the world, all women of any race, nationality, religion, just women in general. And so I decided to take a coaching class. And I took a coaching class as well as I did a program where I had to go through the modules and learn, and then I had to take a test in order to be a certified life coach. And so I did that to become a certified life coach so that I could help women to conquer different adversities and things in their lives, and that they could live their best life. And, the things that I wish that someone was there for me, I could now be there for other women, young girls, young women, just all women. I just really have this thing where I believe that we are so much better together. And I just love the fact that I am a woman, and I love inspiring and encouraging other women to be the best that they can be. And I do have a show as well that's called Dropping the Tea. And it's quite amazing because I'm telling you, I literally, once again, this is my story. God gave me that name. And at first, I did not want to do it. I did not want to do it. I didn't even understand the concept of it. But literally, he said, I want you to call it Dropping the Tea. And I'm having a conversation with God. And I know for some, because I used to be that person that, oh, God talked to you. Okay, right. But that's where I was. And he said, I want you to name it Dropping the Tea. I want you to do the show Facebook Live and YouTube. I was getting instructions. And then he said, bring a cup and put a tea bag in it and sip on tea. And he said, the tea that you're dropping is going to be people's stories just like yours, people that have overcome adversities and things in life. And you're going to encourage a massive of women and people around the world that are going through different things, and they will see how others came out, and then they will have hope and know that they can come out as well. And so yeah, I'm a certified life coach, and I'm writing books as an author, and it's amazing because in my younger years, my mother at that time, the place that she was at, well, she's at a better place now. Um, Many people told me you would never be anything, you would never amount to anything, you would never be good for nothing. And for years, I believed that, and it just was not true. It was not true. There is a purpose and a plan for everybody's life, and I'm just excited that I get to, live the life that I'm living right now. It's truly amazing. I know I'm saying that word a lot, but I don't know anything else to say that it's been a wonderful journey. It's been great.
I mean, we are actually right now looking at the children's book that you wrote over here. But I think before that, I'd like to add on to say that you know the point, the fact that you said you would like to share the stories of others, right? On your Facebook Live, and you just want to talk about how other people have overcome those difficulties. I think I can actually relate to that, because I think that's the whole purpose of us doing this, because we just want to hear from others, and we just want to learn from others. We want to make others feel hurt, right, of their struggles, and let others know that their struggles serve a purpose, right? There's a purpose behind all that struggles, and it's not going to go into vain, and it's going to be something that you can make use of, to better other people's lives, not just ours, but also other people's lives. So I think that's the whole amazing part of talking to people and trying to understand where they come from, and that's why also I love doing this, and definitely I can actually relate to what you said over here. So we are now looking at the Amazon page. It says Hannah learns to give over here. So tell us a little bit about your children's book, and what's this all about, and what motivated you to write. Is this also something about um, trying to trying to tell a young girl about what to expect out of life, and those kind of things that you are doing for adults, but now you are trying to educate the younger kids. And
That
is that something that you wanted to do?
that is something that I'm looking forward to doing in the future, and that is something that I am going to be doing, is writing a young lady's book, or a young person's book, to help them in the journey of life and things that they may be going through. But the actual book, Hannah Learns to Give, literally just came from, like I said, I have my daughter's name, Hannah, in this book, but it just came from, there's some things that I felt like that are missing from young children, that they don't get taught a lot of times, and things that get overlooked. And giving, I felt like, was one of them. We live in a world and society where everybody wants to get, but who's teaching the children about being a giver, about not just receiving all the time, but actually giving to others to make other lives better, especially when you've been so privileged yourself. And so, just to tell you a little bit about the book, Hannah comes from a two-parent home where they are middle class, and she's at a private school, and there's a winter project that her teacher is assigning them to do. And Hannah comes up with, she wants to do different things throughout the community to help and to be a giver. And so she's also watched her mom, who is a nurse, give out to the community so many times. And so now she doesn't get to just watch, she gets to actually demonstrate. She gets to go to the like during the Thanksgiving time, she gets to go and help to pass out food and put food, on the plates to people who are less fortunate. She gets to go to the coat drive, and know that she's giving coats out to people who are cold for the winter, who they're less fortunate. They've come upon some bad times, and so they don't have what she has. So it's different things throughout the book that you will see Hannah giving and finding joy and pleasure in that giving, to the point that she even asked her mom about them making cookies just to give out to the children in her class, because she just has this, now she just has this thing in her where she wants to just be a giver. And so it encourages and it helps children to think about others and to be a giver in the world, and not be so much on the receiving side. We have a lot of people that's all about, what can you do for me? But how many people take the time to say, what can I do for others? So that's a little portion, a little bit about what Hannah Learns to Give is about.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Awesome, right. I think, it is really important to educate the girls out there on various topics, because I think about 10 years ago, when you look past, when you look back 10 years ago, when it comes to children's books, there are a lot of, like, criticisms, like you shouldn't be writing these kind of books for young girls, you shouldn't be writing these kind of, like, it's too extreme, it's too complicated for young girls to understand and things like that. But I think now, it is really important to expose kids to various aspects of life, even in the slightest form of it, right? I think it is really crucial to do that, even if it is not something that they can fully understand. But I think just exposing them to the concept of it is really important. So we've come a long way, right? I think children's book has also evolved over time, and I think this book of yours, which is emphasizing the art of giving, would encourage girls to become more of a giver, right? To become more of a giver, and not just taking. And I think the beauty in life is all about giving. It's all about being there for others, and I think that's where girls will be able to understand the beauty of life. Just being there for other people. Yeah. So, what are the other projects that you're working on right now, Yolanda? And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm always doing coaching throughout the year, and I am looking at doing an anthology book, and so that is my next project, and I'm looking at releasing that during Mother's Day of next year, and so now I will be getting a collaborative women together to tell their stories about the things that they have experienced as far as being a mother and the heart of a mother. A lot of things that people don't look at when it's concerning mothers. And so I have a collaborative of women that's going to be telling their stories of some things they have struggled through in parenthood and being a mother, and they have overcame. And so the actual name of that book is The Heart of a Mother. And so I'm going to be doing my own anthology project. So that is super exciting. Super exciting. And I'm also working on another book. And this book is basically, I guess you could say, a collaboration of all of the things that I have went through in life. So it's going to be one book with just the story of everything that I have been through in life and that I have been able to overcome. So those are two of the projects for right now. I am planning on starting working on a second children's book. So that is soon to come. And I do have a t-shirt business. And yeah, I'm always pretty busy.
That's a good problem to have. All right. Thank you so much, Yolanda, for joining us today, and for sharing your experiences, and also for sharing your a little bit of your story. For our audience out here. Hello, Lisa. Lisa has actually said hello. So hello, hello.
I
Thank you
know.
for actually
Hello.
joining us.
So sweet. Thank
Thank you for
you.
joining us. Thank you for joining us, and thank you, Yolanda, for sharing your stories with us. And I hope that we will be able to meet again in the
Yes.
future for some other shows.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to listen to all these inspiring stories, and hopefully that we will meet again. And Until then, I am wishing you all the best for your upcoming projects, and hopefully, when we meet again in future, we will be able to chat more on your latest projects, and the updates that we have that you have for people out there. So,
Yeah,
thank you so much for joining us, Yolanda. That was a fantastic time with you, talking about all your experiences, and have a great week ahead as well. Thank you, Yolanda.
thank you. I'm so excited that you allow me to be on here. I thank you, and I will be glad to come back when you call for me next time. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome. I will be also sharing this on YouTube and Instagram, so I'll be tagging you, along
Thank
when
you.
I post them up. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again. Thank you, Yolanda.
Thank you.